Outliers, the story of success. Malcolm Gladwell. Now, let's do the same kind of analysis for people like Bill Gates and Bill Gates. If you talk to veterans of Silicon Valley, they'll tell you that the most important date in the history of the personal computer revolution was January 1975. That was when the magazine Popular Electronics ran a cover story on an extraordinary machine called the Altair 8800. The Altair cost $397. It was a do-it-yourself contraption that you could assemble at home. The headlines on the story read, Project Breakthrough, world's first mini-computer kit to rival commercial models. To the readers of Popular Electronics in those days, the Bible of the fledgling software and computer world, the headline was a revelation. Computers up to that point had been the massive, expensive mainframe of the sort sitting in the white expanse of the Michigan Computer Center. For years, every hacker and electronics whiz had dreamed of the day when a computer would come up that was small and inexpensive enough for an ordinary person to use and own. That day had finally arrived. In January 1975 was the dawn of the personal computer age. Then, who would be the best position to take advantage of it? The same principle applies here that applies to the era of John Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. If you are too old, 1975, then you'd already had a job at IBM out of college, and once people started at IBM, they had a real hard time making the transition to the new world, said Nathan Melville, who was a top executive at Microsoft for many years. You had this multi-billion-dollar company making mainframes, and if you were fond of that, you'd think, why screw around with these little pathetic computers? That was the computer industry to those people. It had nothing to do with this new revolution. They were blind by that being the only vision of computing. They made a nice living. It's just that there was no opportunity to become a billionaire and make an impact on the world. If you were more than a few years out of college in 1975, then you belonged to the world paradigm. You had just bought a house. You are married. A baby is on the way. You are in no position to give up a good job and pension for some fly in the sky $397 computer kit. So, let's rule out all those born before, say, 1952. At the same time, though, you don't want to be too young. You really want to get in on the ground floor, right in 1975, and you can't do that if you are still in high school. So let's also rule out anyone born after, say, 1958. The perfect age to be in 1975. In other words, it's old enough to be a part of a coming revolution, but not so old that you missed it. Ideally, you want to be 20 or 21, which is to say born in 1954 or 1955. There was an easy way to test this theory. When was Bill Gates born? Bill Gates, October 28, 1955. That's the perfect birth date. Gates was the hockey player born in January 1st. Gates' best friend at Lakeside was Paul Allen, He also hung out in the computer room with Gates and shared those long evenings at ISI and C Cubed. Allen went on to found Microsoft with Bill Gates. When was Paul Allen born? Paul Allen? January 21st, 1953. The third richest man in Microsoft is one who has been running the company on a day-to-day basis since 2000. One of the most respected executives in the software world, Steve Ballmer. Ballmer's birthday? Steve Ballmer, March 21st, 1956. Let's not forget a man every bit of famous at Gates, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Computer. Unlike Great, Jobs wasn't from a rich family and he didn't go to Michigan like Joy, but it doesn't take much investigation of his upbringing to realize that he had his hamburger too. He grew up in Mountain View, California, just south of San Francisco, which is the absolute epicenter of Silicon Valley. His neighborhood was filled with engineers from Hewlett-Packard, then as now one of the most important electronics firms in the world. As a teenager, he prowled the flea market of Mountain View, where electronics hobbyists and thinkers sold off spare parts. Jobs came of age breathing the air of the every business he would later dominate. This paragraph from Accidental Millionaire, one of the many Jobs biographies, gives us a sense of how extraordinary his childhood experiences were. Jobs attended evening talks by Hewlett-Packard scientists. He talked about the latest advances in electronics and Jobs, exercising a style that was a trademark of his personality. Colored Hewlett-Packard engineers and drew additional information from them. Once he even called Bill Hewlett, one of the company's founders, to request the part. Jobs not only received the part he asked for, he managed to wrangle summer job. Jobs worked on an assembly line to build computers and was so passionate that he tried to design his own. Wait, Bill Hewlett gave him spare parts? That's on a par with Bill Gates getting unlimited access to a Times Square terminal at age 13. It's as if you were interested in fashion. Your neighbor when you were growing up happened to be Giorgio Armani. And when was Jobs born? Steve Jobs, February 21st, 1955. Another of the pioneers of the software revolution was Eric Smith. He ran Novell, one of the Silicon Valley's most important software firms, and in 2001, he became a chief executive officer of Google. Birth date? Eric Smith, April 27th, 1955. I don't mean to suggest, of course, that every software tycoon in Silicon Valley was born in 1955. Some weren't, just as not every business titan in the United States were born in the mid-1830s. But there are very clearly patterns here, and that's striking is how little to seem to want to acknowledge them. We pretend that success is exclusively a matter of individual merit. But there is nothing in any of the histories we are looked at so far to suggest things are that simple. These are stories, instead, about people who were given a special opportunity to work really hard and seized it, and who happened to come of age at a time when that extraordinary effort was rewarded by the rest of society. Their success was not just their own making, it was a product of the world in which they grew up. By the way, let's not forget Bill Joy. Had he been just a little bit older and he had to pass the drudgery of programming with a computer card, he said, he would have studied science. Bill Joy, the computer legend, would have been Bill Joy, the biologist. And had he came along a few years later, the little window that gave him the chance to write the supporting code for the internet would have closed. Again, Bill Joy, the computer legend, might well have been Bill Joy, the biologist. When was Bill Joy born? Bill Joy, November 8th, 1954. Joy would go on. After his stint in Berkeley, to become one of the four founders of the Sun Microsystem, one of the oldest and most important of Silicon Valley's software companies. And if you still think that accident of time and place and birth don't matter all that much, here are the birthdays of the three other founders of Sun Microsystem. Scott Knowledge, November 13th, 1954. Bernard Kosler, January 28th, 1955. Andy Bochelish, September 30th, 1955.